Hey everybody, welcome to my channel, Becoming Your Own VIP, Mind, Body, and Soul. I'm your host, Rebecca McCants, and let's get to it. Today I want to talk to you about love and hate, and some of the lessons I've learned, and quite frankly, lessons that you all may have learned as well. And maybe I could shine a little light upon it with this podcast, with just overall learning. I was listening to a podcast, well, really it was a YouTube video from Jordan Peterson, how he was explaining how we're very capable of being one extreme or a negative between love and hate. We can be very nurturing or it could be very violent. And me personally, as well as the people I've had in my life, were very much so capable of those two things. So it made me really ponder on this and bring this to you today. I know that as caring and as loving as I was, I allowed a lot of things to build up within me at times. A lot of comments here or there, or little boundary violations here or there, to the point where I also have to admit that I agreed to things, even though I knew deep down inside it wasn't really something that was settled with me. And people call that a mask. You know, every day we're wearing a mask so that we can fit in with the image that we're trying to portray, whether that is friendships, whether that's a relationship, whether that's a job, whatever the situation is, that there's a tendency that people wear masks to hide their true intentions or their true feelings. And once that mask is revealed, because guess what, it is a mask, and eventually that mask is going to slip and fall off and reveal you for the truth of who you are. And with that being said, Jordan Peterson's comment kind of made me think about the times when I've talked to you about duality, how we have a dark and a light side within us. And within any energy, really, we do have that positive and negative effect. So even the weather, it can be life-giving or it can be destructive, right? So like hurricane, a tornado. You know, the winds can be calm, the water can be calm, but one day that water can rage. The wind can rage, and then you see such destruction all around you. Well, that's what I felt like a lot of times when I'm calm and collected, and then all of a sudden I turn into a rage moment. And that's because of the fact I quite frankly had a lot of wounding within me and not understanding any of it, as well as lacking emotional tools and healing so that I can combat that. So with that being said, just being honest about myself, I've witnessed that within a lot of people. And with this being mind, body, and soul, I wanted to explain a little bit because this also made me think of a past conversation with someone I loved. And we're talking about love and hate, how I said love is actually really stronger than hate. And of course, she disagreed with that. She felt hate was stronger than love. But with this Jordan Peterson's YouTube video, and with everything that I've kind of led to you with understanding of duality within us and why that duality exists, whether you look at your energies within yourself, your masculine and feminine energies, or if you look at the biblical aspect of it with we are all light, but we were born into sin, so therefore we are currently dark. And that dark and light also made me think of a tale that maybe some of you know, where a grandfather talks to his grandson, where there's a dark wolf and a light wolf, and whichever one you feed will become stronger within you. And you know, I look at myself and my past story, and without that knowledge, and I look at people all around me and how easily we feed the dark side of us. We try our best to nourish and nurture that light wolf within us, that light spirit within us. But then the minute something happened, how we turn so quickly into the dark, and how violent you can be with that, how in a moment of rage you can say so many things that are so hurtful and destructive. And that wolf, was that dark wolf, that light wolf, which one are you feeding it? And what did you receive from it? Because I know I could put on my inner child within me, but like, so I don't care. But deep down inside, you do care. But what happens is what hate does. It gives us the easy way out, putting up a wall, barricading up our heart, barricading up whatever it is that we need to protect. Some people go into hiding. Some people just shut themselves off from the world by being present in the world, but being thorny, being someone that is so ready to lash out at the moment notice someone says or looks at them wrong. And my opinion is, from what I've learned, is hate is the easy way out. Negativity is the easy way out. And negativity, it becomes powerful because you're feeding that darkness within you. So it's easy to block someone from calling you. It's easy to gossip and talk badly about them, and feed your rage, feed your darkness within you. And I say that because also it's easy to pick up the bag of chips. It's easy to go sit down and numb yourself out on TV. It's easy to grab, a bottle of wine or go out drinking. It's easy to, light up and smoke. It's easy to do something reckless. Whether it's going out and shopping, whether it's, hanging out with the wrong crowd, whatever it is that you do to put barriers up, to not face the truth of the emotion, to take responsibility for the role and the action you played in something, to not take accountability and heal the past of where that originated and continue to hurt yourself. That's the easy way. And we create self-hate and self-loathing because of our actions and the things we've lost and destroyed through those times we fed the dark wolf, that darkness within us. And the reason why I feel love is strong is because now that I've understand and put some form of understanding as to what was my wounds, how to face them. When before I ran and I avoided. I blamed, and I've said this before. For me to actually say, I have to stand up and face looking at myself each and every single day and take accountability for the things that led me to where I am right now. To learn to say, I love you so much, I'm not going to go back and feed my dark side again. To yourself. I'm not going to go smoke. I'm not going to go drink. I'm not going to go on spending sprees and hurt myself financially. I'm not going to go on eating binges and hurt my body physically anymore. I'm not going to, go out and watch YouTube and Netflix nonstop on stuff that is not fruitful for me, that's not developing me. But, because like I said before, you just numbed it out. But now I understand you're supposed to be filling your mind with skills, with things that actually will help you with understanding your body, your healing, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, getting up and going to exercise. These things that are loving to yourself. I love myself too much to hurt myself anymore. And do you know how strong you have to be? Like I said, it's easy to pick up that chip. It's easy to pick up that donut. Oh, but it is so hard to look at that and say no. No. It's, when you first break away from your old habit of drinking and something first comes up and that's the first thing you want to go run into. Or to have someone trigger you emotionally and your defensive wall is activated and you want to say something that hurts just as badly as what you just felt. It's just words, right? But those words created a feeling in you that was rather powerful, as if they just hit you because you weren't healed, which is why you created the defensive wall. But that defensive wall, it still was penetrated. Trigger words were said. And do you know how hard it is to say, pause, breathe? One, this person loves me. And they're just saying what they're feeling right now. Two, if this was a stranger, I love myself too much to allow this person to pull me out and make me feed my dark wolf, to feed that darkness within me, because I really don't like the way I feel afterwards. I really don't. I love myself too much to go back to that level. And to be truthfully honest, this person's probably hurt, and that's why they're trying to get me into that position anyway. So when you shine that light, that white wolf upon them, you get better results. Now, while you're healing, you're not going to be perfect at that at first, and that's true. But it takes love to love yourself, to be patient with yourself, have compassion with yourself. Where before it was easier to say the negative things that you've heard say to you before. Or to ruminate, or to overthink. Over time, it decreases. It's not going to be immediate, but it's stronger to love yourself through that. It is stronger to love yourself to say no. It is stronger to say, I love this person so much, I'm choosing to love them through their weaknesses. I might be looking at them side eye like, why did you just say that? Why did you just do that? But I love you. And we'll work on this. Okay? That's the power of love. Where hate, you just walk out. You just run. You just avoid. And again, it's not hating that person or anything like that. It's about hating yourself. It's about hating the situation. It's about hating the way you feel. It's about you running. It's about the reactions that you're having. And that's that key word right there, reaction. When you are in hate mode and you're negative, it is straight up reaction. But when it's in love, that is a pause and a cautionary red flag coming up to the point where your conscience is triggered And your conscious responds by pushing pause, reflecting within, say, I hear you within yourself, breathe within yourself, and woosah within a matter of 30 seconds, because, no matter how healed we are, we can't stop how fast these things get thrown at us, right? And we may not always have a positive reaction, but it's better than what it was maybe when you first started your journey, where again, you were reactionary. You recognize after a while, you're more self-aware after a while of the uncomfortableness of what you're feeling, of the defensive wall that wants to come up, of the fact that maybe I have not dealt with this situation in a while since been healing. So now how do I handle this? Because I haven't had to deal with this in a healed, conscious way, where in the past I would have handled it this way. What's the loving way to handle it now? Do you see the strength of which you will now have compared to hate? When you're in hate, it happens so fast, you can't pull back what was said. But in love, you have that chance to create a loving response to the situation at hand. So instead of handling the situation after the fact and doing some type of damage control, you've already did the damage control in your mind. You've been there, you've done that. You know the end result. If I lashed out in rage right now, I've been there, I've done that, I'm done. So now let me respond to you with love. That is powerful, especially when you can walk away and breathe. And sometimes celebrate, sometimes high five yourself, sometimes smile so brightly because you did it. Growing up for me almost felt like a daily battle. And it wasn't even just a battle that was going on outside of me. There was an internal battle, an emotional battle, a mental battle. Now, eventually, I grew up and it became the same thing. Outside battle, internal battle, and eventually it created dis-eases. So then it wasn't even just an internal battle. It was my body that was now fighting me. And how do you recover from that? Through love, through patience, perseverance. But it's damage control. It's the after effects of all the hurt, the hate, and the fighting and the warring of the times where I've just not pushed pause and dealt with the situation at hand, taking accountability, not burying it, but allow it to flow freely. With accountability, with understanding what part someone else played. But here's the thing, that person has to deal with it on their own. But there's a lesson that you learn from the part that person played. Because without that person playing that part, you wouldn't have been able to dig back into the father wound, the mother wound of when this originally occurred. Going back to the sins of the father, sins of the mother. And this goes back generational. Cursing, in the Bible it talks about curses. Guess what? That's the sin. That's what comes down. Lust, greed, all these things that were never resolved generation after generation because they chose to be in that state and never pull out of it. Until that day you decide, I'm done with it, and you pull out of it. You break that cycle. Love is stronger than hate. That hate would continue the cycle. That hate will continue the curse. that hate will continue the darkness. That hate will continue the sin. And you'll go deeper and deeper and deeper into your darkness. Whereas if you feed the wolf that is the light, if you feed the light within you, and if you shine a light upon your darkness, if you utilize your past to give you the clues to where you need to heal, and if you utilize the present to where someone triggers you and you start asking, why did that just trigger me, instead of, I know they didn't, and want to fight and everything like that, don't fight. Now ask why. Why did this hurt me? And this person just said one word. Why did this just hurt me? And it brought me back to when such and such happened. That's, as much as that might be annoying right now, that person was a messenger from your past to face what you need to face, to heal what you need to heal. A chance for you to break your cycles, whether it's a relationship, an eating habit, a spending habit, addiction, again, father, mother wounds. That's your chance. It's not even just a person that tells you this. It's not just your body that tells you this. It's not just your mind that tells you this. Your dreams tell it too. God is showing you each and every single day, look at what you need to heal. If you're ready to come out the darkness, this is what you have to go through to shine a light upon it. And with that little trickle of light that shines through your darkness, you'll have those aha moments. And it'll open you to more light. You'll have more aha moments. And yes, you might have moments where it pushes you backwards a little bit because temptation came knocking on your door. Or because the feeling of the emotion that you buried so long came up and hit you so hard that you ran again. And you're healing while life is happening. But think about it this way too. I remember when, and I've had a lot of physical ailments, but life still happened. And I had to heal through it. I learned how to be an advocate for myself. I learned how to humble myself. I've learned that I was harder on myself, pushing people away versus allowing people in to help support me. Think about those times when you hide and push people away. And again, I told you push people away by secluding yourself and hiding, by just not talking and avoiding, or you push people away by being that ferocious animal in a corner that's not letting anyone get near. And if they do, you lash out. Your teeth are bare and you're gnawing at them, growling, not ever letting someone get too close to you. Another powerful thing I learned is once our defensive wall is up, like let's use a very familiar terminology where we have walls up around our heart, right? Well, when you have walls up, it keeps things from getting in, right? But it also keeps you from receiving. It keeps you from giving. So, you know how sometimes when people get in a depressive state or just have a hard time feeling joy, it's because that wall is so thick that hurt, where you're trying to prevent that from coming in, okay, you've got some thick layers going around you. You've got all sorts of motion detectors and barbed wire keeping people at a distance so they can't get in. But eventually, when you're ready for that to come in, it's not going to be able to get through, because you haven't done what you needed to do to allow the love in. And that also means, like, when you're so in your darkness, you also can't let the energy of joy come in or leave. You know, people get in such a depressive state and stuff. It's because you're so shut down that you've lost the understanding of the feeling of joy, because it comes from the same area you've blocked. So once again, you're hurting yourself. And that's where a lot of that internal work has to be done internally before you deal with the external. Because it's the internal that is attracting the external drama, the external environments and people that are creating the pain, until you look at it. Once those things are healed, then you're going to start attracting that joy and the people that are loving and kind, that actually want to be there to support you. And not all the time will that happen, because dark is attracted to light, like moss to a flame. You know that saying? But you'll be wiser. You'll have boundaries. Like for me, I didn't have boundaries. For me, I agreed to things, even though deep down inside, I knew that wasn't me. And that mask, when that comes off, then that person's looking at like, who are you? You know, because you wore that mask. They thought you were this person. So you're agreeing to everything because you're looking for happiness, love, acceptance. And once that mask comes off, you're upset because they don't see you for who they thought you were. And then you learn, what you learn is to always give yourself authentically, truthfully. Not in a hard way. Maybe assertive, but you're kind about it. I'm assertive, but I'm being kind, being loving, because guess what? I know what it means to feed my dark side. I'm not doing that right now. My love is stronger. So I'm going to be assertive. I'm going to set my boundary. I'm going to do what I need to do to still have my survival skills, etc., etc. But it's no longer in a toxic way. It's no longer in a survival mode state. It's coming from an assured state, knowing who you are. And those hurtful things that were done and said to you in the past, those are gone. So there's no more ammunition. There's no more wounds to poke at. So you're stronger. You're standing up taller. You're more confident. You're more loving. You're more kind. You're more open. And for some people, this may be hard for you to believe. But trust me, it gets you there eventually. I'll put in the description a comment from the Bible regarding Jesus talking about cleaning your inner. Because so many people are trying to have their mask on the outer. Clothes, hair, nails, shoes, cars, everything on the outer looking great, looking beautiful, but then inside they're a mess. You may not see it when you're out hanging around with everybody, but once you're behind closed doors, then you see that. And that's where love comes in. We're all hiding some type of wound, some type of pain, some type of guilt, some type of shame, some type of bitterness, some type of resentment, some type of anger. God is asking you to look at it. There is a balance to everything. You'll never get rid of any of the emotions, but you'll be wiser with understanding what those emotions are teaching you as you stop taking things so personally. Remember, you are capable of being either dark or light. You are the one who gets to choose which one you feed. The question is, when are you going to get tired of feeding the one that hurts you? When are you going to get tired of the one that lashes out and hurts others? Sometimes people are so deep in their darkness, they don't see it until later. And quite frankly, I didn't see mine until later. Some people are darker than others. We're aware of that. That's why, again, it's great to understand survival skills, but again, in a healthy way. And that's the purpose of this podcast. It's kind of, one, letting you think about things. And then I'll start bringing in a little bit of tools that I use, the blessings I've received, so that, you can see, one, that you've received these blessings too. It's just you were too far in your darkness to see them as a blessing, to see them as an opportunity. You weren't ready to receive. So I'm planting a seed right now within you to just be a little bit more mindful. It just takes a step, tiptoe out of your darkness. I won't smoke today. I won't drink today. No, I don't need to buy that coat. No, I don't need those shoes. No. Whatever your habits are, start winding it back. Whatever you can start doing that is the opposite of what's hurting you, please just start taking those steps. Maybe not listening to that same music over and over again. Maybe you could turn on some light instrumental music, or maybe you could just turn it off. Maybe instead of numbing yourself out on Netflix, you could turn it to a why can I not say that? A documentary. Thank you. Where you can learn something. Pick up a book. Develop new skills. Start funneling your energy into things that are feeding you in a positive way that nourishes your light. If it's the people you're around, maybe I don't hang out with them as much right now. Maybe I'll just give myself a little bit of time to build myself up to be able to say no. For me, it was the little changes. Now, for the drinking and smoking, it was cold turkey. Well, no, it wasn't. I slipped up a little bit once or twice with the drinking and the smoking. But then smoking first was done. I was done after that. And that was it. Then came the drinking. I was done. That was it. Even if you have to start watering it down. Do whatever steps that you have to do to start pulling your dependency on the things that were self-medicating you, and slowly introduce things that help you. But then also start looking at yourself. What are you thinking? What are you speaking? Who's around you that is supporting the negativity? What boundaries can you start setting up? These are the things that I had to start doing within my life. And I'll tell you more. I'll give you more. But that's a long segment. Right now, I'm just trying to have you, one, recognize a little bit of me in you. And if you're ready, just start with the little steps. I know we all want to say, I'm done, and then achieve it. But depending how long you've been in your darkness, that darkness isn't going to let you go so easily. And again, life is happening around us. And if you get triggered, that temptation to go back into the darkness is going to be right there. That's why you take a step. Because you don't want the roof collapsing in on you. You still need your other foundations, even if they're weak. You still want them standing. So just take one board and work with it for a second. Take another board, work with it. Whatever it is that you have to do that you know you're capable of handling without the walls caving in on you, do that. I really love the motto of the footprints in the sand, because I literally had to take a step, and then eventually you're going to look back and see your footprints in the sand and see how far you've come. You don't have to take big leaps and bounds. Sometimes maybe you do, especially if it's in a very toxic environment. Maybe you do have to leap on out of there. That's truth. Because you got to get yourself together. Because you're not doing anybody any favor if you're not right. And sometimes you do need to go off and face the things you need to face within yourself. And that's a hard lesson to learn. But it saves you in the end. So just start leaving your footprints in the sand. Eventually you'll look back and see how far you went. Okay? So I think I'll leave this message right now for for today. But it was something that I was thinking about after I had watched this Jordan Peterson's video. And once again, it was very relevant in my life and wanted to share with you. How you can build. And again, I prayed, and truly those footsteps in the sand, it wasn't just my footsteps that were left in the sand too. God was right next to me, holding me up. Because when you're weak, sometimes people around you don't realize how much you need them. And those people around you, they may not be strong enough to hold you or understand you or be able to be what you need them to be at that moment. And that disappointment of that expectation of what you have of them, that can hurt you and make you fall back even harder. And that's where the blessing of prayer, and that's the blessing of where I found God, was because where I was so weak, He held me up until I was strong. And I pray that you do have someone that you could talk to. But if you don't, or if you're someone that pushes people away because you're in such a vulnerable state, I ask you have prayer. You pray. Have prayer. He already knows what you're feeling. He already knows what you've been, where you've been, what you've done. Start looking inside. Because like I said, God is within you. And sometimes You may not have the will. You may not have the way. But God can give you His will, and He will lead you the way you need to go. And it was a blessing and it was a miracle when you find that one step leads to another step, leads to another step, leads to another step. And then you start feeling so much better. You get a little bit more energy, a little bit more spunk, a little bit more awareness, a little bit more understanding. So, yeah. Love is stronger than hate, because love will pull you out of your darkness. Okay, you guys have a blessed night. Take care.